The pause principle, how slowing down speeds up growth.
Let's break it down today on the Wandering But Not Lost podcast. Welcome to Wandering But Not Lost, your online source for finding balance so that you can align, connect, and prosper. And now your hosts, Jen O'Brien and Matt Emerson. Welcome everyone to the Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where we wander with intention and align with clarity. This is episode 359, and you can discover our show notes over at wbnlpodcast.com. Let's just start this out by saying that we live in a world obsessed with hustle, productivity checklists, endless to-do lists. But what if real growth, the real growth, the breakthrough you've been waiting for, isn't found by speeding up, but it's found by actually slowing down? What do you think about that? Today we're exploring why rest isn't weakness, why pausing isn't quitting, and how giving yourself space might be the single best strategy for the long term. Clarity, creativity, and success will follow. So wherever you're wandering today, whether it be physically wandering on a trail or in your thoughts or just through your week, let's take a breath. Let's just take a little breath. This one's about intention over intensity. All right?
Love it.
I know. And I always like to talk about nature because nature is kind of where everything happens for me, right? So have you ever noticed, though, when you are out in nature, it doesn't seem to be in a hurry. It just doesn't, right? You walk through a forest or you walk through a park, you walk down the street, wherever you're walking, nothing's really rushing. Trees aren't competing to grow faster. The river isn't anxious about its next turn. Everything moves with intention. That's kind of like that. We were just in Kings Canyon not too long ago talking about that Kings River. And you know, Kings Canyon is actually deeper than the Grand Canyon. Few people know that. That it's actually deeper than that. That wasn't a glacially carved place like Yosemite is. That is cut by the Kings River. And when you think about that over the eons that it took to carve that canyon, that's amazing. Well, the Kings River is intentional about its maneuver through there. And it does it with intention. It does it with rhythm. And it gets the work done clearly. And it just is amazing to me sometimes. I'm going way off the
great analogy.
It's really interesting when you think about how much that river has carved that canyon since its creation. Where's it going to be in another 2,000 years or 3,000 years if the planet is still around? How deep is that going to be, or what's it going to, it doesn't just stop carving. When you go there today, it's not still doing that. It's still working its magic. So anyway, on some of my clearest insights have always come not when I've been grinding, but when I've been actually out wandering. And we've talked about that probably way too much in the show. Although I guess it's not possible considering wandering is in the title of the show itself. So out on the trail, sitting beside the side of rivers, just sitting quietly under a tree or just watching the wind blow. Those are the moments where things really, really click for me. And it doesn't have to be outside. Sometimes I can just do it just sitting quietly in my house, right? Or just taking some meditation. But here's the thing. Those moments only happen when we pause, when we stop long enough to hear what life's been trying to say to us. So we've been led to believe that rest is unproductive, but nature, and honestly, a great idea I have ever had around, it tells a different story in this, right? The pause isn't passive. It's productive in a completely different way. It's where alignment happens. It's where energy resets. It's where the next step starts to appear almost every time. Not because we're forcing it, but because we're finally quiet enough to actually receive that vibe or that information. Love it.
It's powerful because it's so true. For me, this is so true because slowing down can feel really scary. It's been hard for me to do this over the years because as soon as I'd say I'm going to stop and just take a break, anytime during the day even, I will inevitably be like, I have to get up and go. I have to go do something or my mind will not slow down enough. It's been a lot of practice to get to a place where I can take an hour and not be thinking about all the things on my to-do list and find that meditative space and I like it. So it can feel scary, but it is essential, okay? Because we've been conditioned to believe that if we're not moving, we're falling behind. especially in this country. It's not like this in all cultures on the earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As Americans, we really, really, really have this as a problem.
Totally.
Resting equals losing, right? That's why I feel like I've always said I can never take a nap. Yeah. I'm getting to the place now where I can take a nap in the day.
I love it.
And that's telling you progress. So let's be honest, slowing down, it definitely feels vulnerable because it forces you to be with yourself. That's really what the deal is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we don't want to do that because we are avoiding it, and that's where all the little tasky things will come in. But here's the truth. Most people aren't stuck because they're lazy. They're stuck because they're overloaded, they're disconnected, or they're chasing someone else's version of success. That's another thing that our society is all about. The media is constantly saying, this is what it looks like. Since we've been little kids in every generation for many, many decades now, this is the meaning of success, especially here in America, right? So the pause creates a space to realign and reset yourself. Are you chasing the right goal? Is it something that you want for yourself, or is it this societal pressure or family pressure about getting things and material self and money is what you're going after? Maybe that's not really what the bottom line is. Are your daily actions in sync with your values, what you truly, truly believe? And is your ambition still your own? So in the silence, that's where we can find the answers.
That's so awesome. So let's get practical on this. If you're someone who's always on the move, and Lord knows we can all be guilty of that, or at least have been at some point in our lives, you might be thinking, okay, pausing sounds great, but how do I actually do it without falling behind? And I understand that, when you think, just like you said, should I nap? Because if I nap, that's not a good, that's 20 minutes. That's a half hour out of my day.
Genius naps.
Yeah, they are genius naps. That's awesome. But here are 3 real ways that you can put the pause principle into practice. Ooh, that's a lot of P's. I like that. Without losing the momentum that you really need to get your stuff done. The first one is what we call the micro pause. Take micro pauses throughout your day. This one's super simple and incredibly effective. Just 30 seconds every hour. 30 seconds every hour to pause, look up, breathe, and check in. So it's really just it's a reset, right? I like to ask myself, am I aligned right now? Am I aligned with what I'm doing right now? Am I on the right path, or am I just reacting? Am I just reacting to something? And that's a quick reset that can shift your entire energy. And that doesn't take hardly any time at all, but you have to be intentional and work that into your time or your hour, whenever you're going to do it. Number 2 is a weekly reflection process. So set aside 20 minutes once a week to disconnect. Now, of course, we always recommend doing this much more than once a week, once a day. Sometimes even do it twice a day, where you disconnect. No phone, no agenda, go for a walk, sit outside, journal, just listen. And we talked about this a little bit ago. Just listening sometimes can be the whole key to the whole thing. You're not trying to solve anything during this time. You're just giving space for what's already inside you to come to the surface. So personally, my best weekly reflection happens outside. And if you're a fan of the show, you know that. If you listen to the show, you don't have to be a fan. But if you listen to the show,
you're a fan.
I like to be right. But so there's something about the movement for me and the stillness of my mind and the thoughts together. That's where a lot of times the magic really begins for me. And the number 3 is the intentional rest cycles. This one changes everything for me. Build rest into your schedule as a strategy, not as an afterthought. Between projects, launches, even, seasons. We've been talking about seasons a little bit over the last couple podcasts, and we got a little wonderful podcast coming up in a few weeks as we start moving into summer. But anyway, you have to block out time to recharge, because it's not slacking, it's sustaining. And that is so truth. And when you give yourself permission to pause without guilt, that's when you can stop running on fumes and start moving from the fire. And I'm telling you, I try to every day work that whole pause thing into my day. Sometimes it doesn't work. And it kind of bums me out when it doesn't work, but it's okay if you don't always do it. But trying to work it in is super important.
Totally. And because when we pause, here's what we create. Clarity. This is one of our favorite words. Clarity is, it's very clear what clarity is, right? Yeah. I mean, clarity, if you really can embrace what clarity would look like in your life, the noise fades in the stillness. That's where the clarity can come out. When you pause, you create energy for yourself, energy that will help you recover. And that's going to help you with the endurance that you need. And then when you pause, you create direction. Because wandering always leads us back to what matters. And it's usually something inside that is, it's all starts from within. And then you have these things, then you can show up for everybody else. I think we take that the wrong way. Many of us go the other way. We feel like if we just stay busy and we do these things, then that's how we're supporting the people that we love and the mission and whatever it is you're doing. And I really think it's the other way around. It's inside out, not outside. Everything on the outside. So pausing doesn't mean you've stopped. It's just a pause. It means you're growing with intention, and that's really where power is. So here's your invitation this week, everyone. Pause on purpose.
Yeah.
Let go of the rush. Breathe into your day. 30 seconds every hour. Just set a little timer on if you have a watch. I don't have a watch, but I have a phone that could tell me to pause and take a breath, and trust that your next breakthrough doesn't need more hustle. It just needs more of you showing up for it.
That's awesome. This message resonates with you, and I hope it does. Please share it with someone that might need permission to pause, because I think if you don't have that built into your system and into your day and into your calendar and into your routine, maybe you could be the person that nudges them there and gives them permission to do that, because
I love that. Give yourself permission to pause.
That's right.
Give yourself permission to pause.
I love it. And don't forget to visit WBNLpodcast.com for all the show notes and more tools that can help you explore, elevate, and expand. Until next time, wander with intention, align with clarity, and be forever wandering but not lost.